Hey, I'm Mark, and thanks for watching my channel, Losing to Win. And as you may or may not know, I'm 50 years old, and I just lost 50 pounds in under 4 months. And I want to share with you the top 5 tips of losing weight in 2026. The top 5 things that I did anyway. I am going to throw in a bonus tip, so there will be 6. And the 6th one is the one that really brings it all together and makes it all jive, so stick around for that. Number 1, I set a goal. So, and this is a more specific goal than I just want to lose a little weight. So my original goal was 50 pounds in a year. I thought that was a respectable goal. That's 2 pounds some week and no pounds some weeks. And then when it all shakes out at the end, it comes out to about 50 pounds a year. Nice goal, and great for anyone who does lose 50 pounds in a year. I just took it very seriously when I got started, and the 50 pounds happened a lot faster than I expected. And then I had to recalibrate. I've already lost 50 pounds, so I had to recalibrate. My new goal is to lose 80 pounds this year, so from 280 to 200. 80 pounds in 1 year, I think that's a very respectable number. And I still have another, 8 months or so to go, so I definitely think I'll get there. So I do definitely recommend setting a goal, something more specific than just, I want to lose some weight. Number 2, I track my macros. Probably the first time I've ever really tracked it hard. I've always known about macros, and, even, when I worked out when I was younger and whatever, I never really tracked the macros. So track your macros. You're going to be surprised about what you eat right now, and then what your target macros are. So something I did just the other day was I tracked everything I ate before I started dieting, things I'd normally eat while I was at work. And between my coffee and my bagel and my peanut butter and jelly and some chips and cookies and whatever, I was consuming somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 calories before I even walked back in the door at the house to eat dinner, and more snacks and ice cream and cereal and all that stuff. So track your macros. Find out what they are, ChatGPT, Google, Claude, there's all types of great information out there at your fingertips. So, find out what your macro targets are and then hit them. Mine, for example, is roughly 180 to 200 grams of protein, and then 80 grams of carbs and 80 grams of fat. And I don't really track those near as hard as I probably should be, but I do make sure I hit the protein and then kind of just let everything else fall where it does. So track your macros. Tip number 3, I prioritize my protein, which goes back to tracking my macros, but I make sure I hit my daily protein goal. I build every meal around protein, every day. I eat cottage cheese for lunch. I eat, some sort of protein, chicken, shrimp, steak. Tonight was pork tenderloin. Always get some good source of protein for dinner. And then some Greek cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, and some berries. So every meal, if you count that as 3 meals, if you can count it as 2 and a snack, or 3 meals, every meal is built around the protein. Tip number 4, break the sugar addiction, which that was the hardest thing of the weight loss journey so far, was the first 2 or 3 weeks of the bad habits of grazing through the cabinets, grazing through the refrigerator, finding something sugary. And, when I say break the sugar addiction, it doesn't just have to be sugar. It could just be pointless carbs, potato chips, goldfish, some sort of cracker, or, whatever. Those are just pointless carbs. It's about the same as eating sugar. So when I say break the sugar addiction, it's, all of those pointless carbs. My suggestion is to find some healthy snacks, jerky, pork rinds, things that, minimize the carbs and has a little protein in it. I hate to say that they're protein foods, but they do have some protein in it, and they do minimize the carbs. Tip number 5. Make time for exercise. Very important. I didn't do this when I first started the diet. I actually started the diet first and then started adding some exercise, just really by waddling around the block with my dog, then maybe a mile with her, and then 2 miles, and then I challenged myself to walk 2 miles every day for a week, and then, you know, it's kind of graduated into walking 5 miles a day for 30 days. That was a challenge that I challenged myself, and right now I'm into about day 22. I think today was day 22, so I got about 8 more days to go of the 5 miles a day. But everyone has a little extra time. You got time scrolling on TikTok, you got time watching TV, time, you know, on the computer, whatever you're doing. And if you don't have time, you know, sorry. But most everyone has a little bit of time, and they consider it me time, and that's great. Everybody needs a little me time. But you can turn a little exercise time into some me time. You know, I know when I'm out walking in the mornings, I just kind of get lost in my mind, lost in my thoughts, you know, about what's going on that day. And I really turn my exercise time into some me time. So make time for some exercise. Tip number 6, and this is the tip that really brings it all together right here. You have to change your mindset. You have to get into what I call the bodybuilder mindset, to where everything is for that goal, just like a bodybuilder. You know, you might not be, you know, trying to get jacked, but you're trying to lose weight. You're trying to change your body, whatever it is. So you have to get that mindset, set that goal, and everything that you do, you know, is to try to achieve that goal. There can't be any more of, well, this bowl of cereal won't kill me. You know, that's probably true. It's not going to kill you, but at the same time, it's not going to help you achieve your goals. So you got to get past the, you know, just one more bite, or just this little bit's not going to hurt me, or whatever. You know, change your mindset. And along with change your mindset, you're going to change a little bit of what you eat. And you know, I covered that a little earlier with finding some healthy snacks. You know, you can't keep doing what you was doing and expect some change. There's a word for that, and it's a popular saying, and you know, you can probably figure it out. So thanks for making it this far in the video. That's my top 5 tips that I have done, that I did to lose 50 pounds in 4 months, less than 4 months, at 50 years old. They say it gets harder when you get older, and you know, I'm trying to prove them wrong. So thanks for making it this far in the video. Hit the subscribe button. I'm going to try to pop it up right here, and over here might be another video about me losing weight. And thanks for watching.